Hey y'all, and we back. I'm back with a little update that I really found through one of my subscribers. And without my subscriber, I wouldn't have known that this young lady has been arrested. Now, who you're looking at now is Quaneesha Johnson. Quaneesha Johnson is a female who claimed self-defense shooting up her boyfriend. And also, she did mention to the officer that she will unalive them if they don't get him off around her. So I don't know how they took that. But look, before we do anything, I appreciate if y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And your opinion means very well to me. Okay? Now do this. Close that screen door and start letting all them flies up in here. All right, y'all. That's my say. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, y'all, we're gonna get into Quaneesha Johnson, and we're gonna give y'all. I'm not gonna play the whole video. I'm gonna play some of the video. Okay, not gonna play the whole thing so y'all can understand where we are. Okay. Okay, just like I said, I wasn't going to play the whole thing. I just want to give y'all a little outlook of what she said happened, okay? So let's take a look at this. Okay, y'all, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the defense sentence, okay? And we're going to discuss that, okay? Because it's a video that I want to show y'all how it came about to that point, okay? All right, so before we watch that video, I want to get into this. Happened out in DeKalb County, Georgia. The DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston announces a conviction by jury trial in a murder case against a woman accused of shooting and killing the father of one of her children while the children was inside her home, y'all. Not outside the home, but it was inside the home. Jury returned guilty verdict Friday against Quaneesha Nicole Johnson. She's 30, okay? She was convicted on charges of voluntary manslaughter, 2 counts of aggravated assault, family violence, 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, and a possession of firearm during commission of a felony. Now listen, according to the investigation, defendant Johnson called 911 on November 27, 2022 to ask for a police escort to her home on Adamberry Lane in Lithonia. According to the investigation, the night before, defendant Johnson had gone out, y'all. She had gone out clubbing. So, she left the kids there with DeMonte Smith, which he's 19. He is the father of her youngest, okay? Smith expected the defendant Johnson to be home at 6 a.m. He gave her the 6 a.m. to be at home. So in other words, he didn't mind her going to have a good time, okay? Because she work and all she do, take care of the children as well. Okay. And when she did not return, he called her several times, okay? Mr. Smith was worried about defendant Johnson. Had called him early in the morning and said she and her friends had been in a physical altercation with other people at the club. And this make it really worse, y'all, knowing that it was a club fight in the club and your boyfriend babysitting it, and your baby daddy's babysitting the kids. Now, Smith called, that's DeMonte. DeMonte called some of the defendant Johnson family member who also became worried about Johnson's phone was off. She turned her phone off. That's not what you're supposed to do when you got kids. They all called local hospitals and jail to try to locate defendant Johnson, okay? So, around 9 a.m., the defendant Johnson turned her phone back on, y'all. So she been gone all day and she been gone all night, but supposed to be back in at 6. She even turned her phone off, okay? Why she turned that phone on, I don't know. Then she turned it back on later, about 9 a.m., okay? She called her family members who conference called Smith into the conversation. Smith was angry and threatened to hit defendant Johnson when she got home. Y'all, that's a threat right there. That's a threat right there, what he just did to her. But anywho, the officer sent defendant Johnson and Smith inside the house to calm down. As she walked inside, defendant Johnson asked the officer what would happen if she shot Smith in self-defense, and told them that she had already looked up the self-defense law. Now, that's one mistake. If she looked up that law, she shouldn't have asked them. So the police couldn't carry the conversation like that with her. The officer returned on scene and planned to give the pair a few minutes to cool off before trying again to meditate. Okay? Before that could happen, DeMonte came back outside, y'all, grabbed a metal tie rod and her gun from her car and went back into the house. She directed one of her children to call 911 and say that Smith had hit her. Allegedly, he didn't hit her. Okay, so the officer, so the defendant Johnson hit Smith. She hit Smith. Johnson hit Smith in the head with a tie rod and then shot him. The gunshot can be heard on the 911 recording, as well as defendant Johnson repeatedly saying bye to Smith. Smith went outside to find the police officer and told him, she hit me in the head with a metal thing and then shot me. Hurry before I die. Smith then collapsed. Officer took defendant Johnson into custody. In an interview at police headquarters, she admitted Smith had never actually hit her that day. The investigator later discovered Smith and requested a share ride to leave the house, but was shot and killed just minutes before it was scheduled to arrive. During a sentencing hearing Monday, the state required defendant Johnson be sentenced to 25 years in prison and 5 on probation based on the very nature of the crime. The Cobb County Superior Court Judge Shaniana Amaris sentenced defendant Johnson at 10 years confinement, split between 5 in prison and 5 more under house arrest, with an additional 10 years on probation. Now, Judge Morris also sentenced defendant Johnson under the First Offender Act. The state requested that the defendant be taken custody immediately upon being found guilty of killing Unaliving Smith. I'm sorry, YouTube. Defendant Johnson, however, will not yet begin her sentence because the judge granted an appeal bond over the state objection. Judge Barr ordered Johnson to be placed on house arrest while her attorney appeals her conviction.